Hello and welcome to Goonies World. I am Johnny Farrow, also known as Sean, and with me, as always, is Meanie, also known as Ryan.
Well, hello there.
And of course, we have Goonie himself, also known as Colin.
Hi.
And we have Lunicorn, also known as Lynn.
Hello.
And tonight, we are playing Basic Dungeons and Dragons, the 1981 Red Box set. So we've gone back in time to do that. We're not even going to recap what's going on, though. We're going to jump right back into the action. If you want to know what's going on, go listen to the last episode. So you've just left the keep, you guys, and you're walking down the long escarpment road that leads up to it, back down into the level of the wilderness. As you're walking down this road, you can see the Wilderlands out to the east. The realm that you've come from is to the west behind you. The keep's here on the borderlands in between them. So everything that you see in front of you to the east, from your left and the north to your right and the south, is all uncharted territory. Now to your north, which is where you can see a track and trail going, the land is very forested and rises. And to your right, to the south, there's a great curving river, a huge curve of it, a great hump of it coming in to run alongside the track for a little bit. That's off to your left. But then the river bends back down to your right, to the south, and disappears in the distance. And beyond that river is a great marshland with all kinds of low, strange mounds in them. Some of you may have heard some rumors about the marshes or the mounds, but the track and trail, which is the only real guide you have, and of course, who told you follow a trail there? Nickel, the same guy you didn't believe, when it came to whether to go up and to the left, as he said not to do when you get to the caves of chaos, or go down and to the right. Nevertheless, that's where you find yourself, and you're almost to the bottom of the great escarpment road that leads up to the keep. When you realize there's a figure hurrying down the road behind you, like coming from the keep, a little bundled up figure, got a great big backpack that's swinging on his back as he tries to run. It's imbalanced. When he gets closer, you see a young guy, early 20s maybe. You haven't seen him before. You didn't meet with him in the town. He's out of breath. Oh, wait there. I'm Lancet. Oh, I wanted to see you before you left. I'm leaving town too. I'm leaving the keep on the borderlands. I'm going back to the realm. I understand you're going out to the caves of chaos. Is that right? Whew.
Yeah, well, possibly. What'd you say your name was?
Well, my name's Lancet. I'm an acolyte at the chapel here, the St. Cuthbert, or at least I was. And
You're not one of my boys, are you? Illegitimate boys?
Oh,
Is your mother named Carrie or
No.
Tina?
No.
Okay, well, there's a lot of women I don't remember their names, but...
Well, my mother may not be a saint, but she's back in the realm, and that's where I'm going. I don't have it in me, the monastic life out in the wilderness, but I knew you were here, and I meant to catch you all before you left. But I didn't get your name, sir, he says back to you.
Well, my name's Raw Dog.
Raw Dog. Yes, you do. You do look like her. That name suits you. And you, good sir, he says, giving a little bow to you, Cosmo.
Ooh, my name's Cosmo, isn't it?
I guess it is. And you, it is not often I am graced to be in the presence of the fair folk, he says, with a gentlemanly bow to you.
Yes, it is an honor for you, isn't it? I am Emeleth.
Emeleth. I shall cherish the name. Well, Emeleth, Cosmo, Dudley, I believe we can help each other, yes? Oh, excuse me. I'm in need of some traveling funds, as it were. I have a bit to get me back, but not in style, with something in my pocket to at least show for the 8 weeks I've been absent. won't have to go before my parents and say I came back empty-handed, just like they said I would. But I'll tell you, there's not much money in being an acolyte in the chapel. I'll tell you that. But I need traveling funds, and I have a very, very strong feeling you're going to need what I have for you. And he reaches into his coat and he pulls out a scroll and he hands it to you, Emeleth. Do you want to unroll it?
Yes, I do.
Well, you unroll the scroll, and you see it's a clerical scroll. This kid's not a cleric; he's an acolyte. He swept up and lit candles and stuff in the chapel. That's what he did. It's a clerical scroll with one instance of hold person on it, the spell, and 3 instances of cure light wounds. Something just tells me deep in my bones that you need that more than I do. And I'll sell it to you for 6 gold pieces. That's just 2 each. Surely you lot can wrangle that, yes?
Well, possibly, but why? What's to stop us from just taking this scroll and drowning you in the swamp?
Well, it's a... he looks back and forth to the swamp, to you.
You didn't think of that, did you?
Well, no, but everybody said what you was great heroes, and that Nickel, he's a first-class rogue. He's as chaotic as they come, and he hates you, believe me. You should have heard him at breakfast. He's collecting bets that says you won't come back at all. Says he's seen to that. Says he's seen to that. No, listen, you should go back to the realm. There's nothing for you out here but death. From here, there was nothing but boredom, and I'm not bold enough for the caves of chaos or any other caves.
Well, look, I already spent all my coin on beverages, so I'm fresh out. I don't know about these other 2, though.
Well, so 6. He wants 6.
That's right, 6. It's a small price for you to pay. It'll get me home in style. And if you can't pay it, maybe I'll just take my scroll.
I'd like to see you try that.
He reaches out real fast and tries to grab it away from Emeleth. Emeleth, roll your dexterity or less on a d20 to see if he's able to take it out of your hands.
I rolled a 12 and my dex is 14, so...
He tries to. He reaches in and tries to grab it real fast, but you swipe it out of the way, I guess. Unless you just want to let him have it back. Oh, come on then. Just 6.
Hey, props for trying, though. I didn't think you had it in you.
Oh, I've got it in me all right.
Well, I got...
Hey, that's what your mom said.
Hey.
I got 3. 3 we could give him if you got 3 there, elf lady.
I suppose I was hoping to only give him 2 because that would be a more fair split, but our raw dog friend seems to have his vices that he's spinning on. So I suppose I can...
Ooh, he's a drunk, isn't he?
I can give an extra
Proud of it.
in his... so yes, I have 3. Now I have 4.
Well, maybe you all just split those spells on that scroll between the 2 of you. So maybe if old Raw Dog here needs a little healing, you can remind him who paid for the scroll, huh? But he's backing up. As he's saying.
Shut your mouth.
Yeah, he's backing up as he's saying this. And the road splits here. If you were to turn right, it'd be like a U-turn and go back behind you and beyond the keep to the west, back to civilized lands. That's where he's going, and that's where he's backing up. It says all this. But you do have the scroll now. Now, when you read the spells on the scroll, they disappear.
Right.
But you don't have to be a cleric to use it. You just have to read the scroll. And again, there are 3 Cure Light Wounds spells on it, and 1 Hold Person spell. And just a person, not a creature, in case that should come up anytime soon. I don't know why it would.
We could hold him with it and then kill him and throw him in the swamp and take our money back. But I would never say such a thing out loud.
It's like you're reading my mind.
Well, there are great forces. There are alignments of morality, as it were. Some people fall more to the side of law, others to the side of chaos. And I guess you'll have to decide ultimately where you fall on that line. And we be heroes or murder hobos. The choice will be yours in the world of Dungeons and Dragons. So, I assume you'll head off into the morning, freshly armed with a scroll. You've got about 7 days worth of iron rations that you can eat. And as I say, the track runs off to the east. So, into the morning sun. And again, off to your right, there's a great bend of a river that's curving up from the south, and beyond that, some marshes. And to your left, rising ground in a gnarly, tangled forest. But to either side of the road, it's not like fresh mown grass, but there's no obstructions. You can see a good 30 yards on either side of you as you're making your way along this path. And who knows who made the path, because it goes into lands yet uncharted. And I assume you'll walk along it. Now, back at the keep, if you were to have gone into the Lord's castle, into his warding room, you'd have seen a great map of the Wilderlands that they do have on the wall, all divided into wee little squares. And if you were looking at that now, you may have been told or have guessed that you think you could walk about 3 squares an hour, roughly, on a map like this. And so you try to imagine that in your minds as you move up across the landscape. And for most of the morning, you walk without incident. In fact, it's a rather pleasant walk, really. The road gets a little muddy here and there, but the weather holds up and it's crisp and cool, so you're not too sweaty. And yet it doesn't seem like it will plunge down and get too terribly cold tonight, so you should be okay without sleeping bags and whatnot. Almost seems like a nice little walking holiday for most of the day. And you walk without incident for 6 or 8 hours, with the only change in the landscape being that the river to your right curves ever closer to the road as it humps up, and you're about at its closest point to the road. It's also about the closest point of the forest to the road. The road's kind of going through a little bottleneck here. About 8 to 10 or so hours later, you guys don't have timepieces on you. You know, you're watching the sun. But you've been walking all day. It's not dark yet, but twilight's coming. You might want to think about how you want to spend the night out here, your first night out. So I'll let you think about that. This is you could press on beyond this area where you're close to the woods and the water, or you could travel on into the darkness before you look for a good spot, or you could stop here. What do you want to do on your first night out in the Wilderlands, your first night beyond the borderlands?
I think this looks like a lovely spot.
I don't know. I could go for a while, but if we want to stop here, fine. You know, we could have we could all cuddle up together, keep warm.
Oh, we've been walking for so long, I don't think I could walk much longer. Stopping and taking a rest and letting my wee little legs, have a bit of a nap might be just the way to go.
A leg nap. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I need a leg nap once in a while.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And how do you feel about it, Amaleth? I'm sure you could go gliding on under the starlight for many leagues yet to come.
Yes, I probably could, but this looks like a lovely spot to camp for the night. And perhaps we could even catch us a fish or two for dinner.
No, that's not a terrible idea at all.
Yeah, and I got iron rations, but I don't know why anyone would want to eat iron.
Sometimes that dried meat and hardtack bread tastes like iron. Yeah,
it's probably as hard as iron, too.
Yeah, you gotta soak it in a cup of water for a long time to make it more palatable. But nevertheless, they never go bad. And if you can, supplement your diet with things like fresh fish or maybe a rabbit, you can save a day of rations, because you never know what might happen out here or just how food just how easy food might be to get. But if you're willing to spend a good few hours fishing, that river is abundant enough that there is no need for tedious and troublesome die rolling in order to catch just enough to feed yourselves for tonight, uh, especially for one who is in tune with the ways of nature. It's the way I imagine Emeleth is, and I imagine Cosmo Moonfoot's also a good fisherman. It just kind of goes with the territory. Halfling likes his fish. A little salt on it there on the table in front of him. A little lemon. And, that's the only way to get it.
Not a bad cook either. I could take some of those iron rations and soften them up in a bit of water, make a bit of a stock out of it, poach the fish, and then we could harvest some, local herbs and such from the forest, and maybe some truffles, and have a nice little dinner.
Well,
Yeah, you do that.
sounds like a plan then. Emeleth, get some fish, and what do you want to get, like a fire going, or do you want to go up into the forest and look for herbs, Cosmo?
That's a good question. I think he would probably tromp off, not super far into the forest, but like poke around the general area of the camp, looking for edibles such as, any sort of subterranean tubers, turnips or potatoes or truffles or herbs or things like that.
Tasty roots. Look at the stalks of plants to look for herbs that will add some taste. But imagine you'll go in and around and close to the wooded area while you're doing that.
Oh, yeah.
And you go down to the water, Emeleth, to get some fishing done. And meanwhile, I know the old Raw Dog didn't seem too interested in any of those things. What do you do, meanwhile, Raw Dog?
He'd probably just maybe sit down and sharpen his sword.
You could build us a fire, Mr. Dog.
I could.
Yeah, you could.
That's skirt work.
I do like fire. I do have a tinderbox.
Yeah, might as well put it to use. Well,
Yeah.
we'll assume you get a nice little fire going, because if you're going to be poaching fish and everything, I mean, we'll probably need some fire. Now, as I say, Emeleth, you're able to catch a few fish, no problem. At one point during, you did hear a loud splash from just about 20 yards out, and there would have been a pretty big fish. You just saw something out of the corner of your eye that seemed vaguely not right, but it's not repeated, and probably means nothing more than there are older and darker things than fish swimming in the rivers of the world. So it's maybe not water you'd want to swim in, I guess. But you've also heard beyond the river on the other side are marshes. I mean, not even really a clear riverbank on the other side. And you had heard some rumors about lizard men in the marshes. So maybe something to be mindful of. Meanwhile, wee little Cosmo Moonfoot is going up to the forest edge, and you're looking around to find some herbs. And you find some tasty tubers and some chives, some wild growing chives, and some chocolate mint, and some catnip. I don't know if you can use that or not. I'm thinking things that are actually growing in my front yard right now. But
Yeah, I don't think that chocolate mint or catnip would be particularly
chocolate
good
fish, no?
additions to a sort of fish and iron ration stew. But he'd probably grab them anyway, just for not to use them tonight.
Make
but
a tea later.
yeah.
But yeah, you can get some chives in there, and you get some tasty roots. And however, while you're in the process of that, you're right up. You're not deep in the forest. You're at the edge, and it's already, like I say, with twilight. When you stopped, it's already getting pretty dark and purple under there. But there's something gleaming. It almost looks silvery for a second, which is what catches your attention. You realize it's actually a whole bunch of very thick spider webs spread over some bushes and enclosing something. There's little crystalline glints, in the silk of the spider web that catch the fading light. And there's actually a foot coming out from under that bush, a boot of a human-sized or humanoid person. And that's what you can see there at the edge of the woods, just not too far in.
Ooh. Well, they might need some help. I reckon I ought to go over there and take a peek and see if they, they might already be digested from the outside in, but maybe not.
Maybe not. Well, I guess you'll walk over there and take a look. And you reach down and, I don't know if you reach down, but you would peer down to look at the boot. And it's just going up to about the knee right into the bushes. It's hard to even see beyond that. You want to tug on the boot or pull it out, or what do you want to do?
Let's take a peek at my equipment real quick and see if I have anything appropriate to he'd probably poke at it with his short sword and just see if he can get any kind of movement or response.
Okay. So you get out your short sword to poke at it. Meanwhile, we cut back to a peaceful scene of fishing with Emily. And we cut to the crackling fire where Raw Dog is staring moodily into the flames. And then we cut back to you here in the purple twilight, in the deep purple, as you poke this leg. And no, in fact, the boot rolls over a little bit, and you realize that the boot, it's a high boot, like a thigh boot. It's no longer really attached to a leg. It's just a boot. You realize, and then from up above and behind you, you hear a tasty, 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 little one, fat one, fat one. And the hair on the back of your neck rises, and you look up, and the trees above you are two pretty big spiders. They're about like size of pigs, and then they've got the great big legs beyond that. You can't help but mistake the tiny red mark on them, on one of them anyway, identifies them as giant black widow spiders. And I'm going to have to ask you to go ahead and roll for initiative. You're not surprised because they couldn't help but slaver and gloat at the tasty little prize they think they found.
3.
Okay, you have the initiative. Cosmo, yeah, there are two giant black widow spiders in the trees above you, about 20 feet away. And what do you do?
Let's see here. He's going to say, actually, he's going to scream such that hopefully his friends could hear it.
Mm-hmm.
What? Nobody's shaming you, fucking spiders.
You whip out your bow and fire.
Oh, I rolled a natural 20.
So natural 20, and in my world, that's double damage. But now, the DM rolls damage in this system. I don't like that. I think you guys should roll damage. So why don't you go ahead and roll damage for your bow, which is D6.
It is indeed D6, and I will double that to a 6.
That is great. And this little spider, well, he's not that little. Your arrow does stick into him. Because as everyone knows, spiders don't like to be hit with arrows. And they also don't like to be sworn at. And you said the F word to them. They don't care for that. So that's what happened. Meanwhile, you guys, you hear fucking spider coming from the edge of the forest. What would you guys do if that happened?
Well, I would definitely rush over there with my two-handed sword.
And I imagine you start running in that direction. Okay. So, yeah, you pick up, start taking off towards the edge of the woods. Meanwhile, MLS.
Yes, I will drop my fishing pole at the side of the river and make my way towards my friend who seems to be in peril.
Okay. Well, you do it much faster than you say it. Speaking in elf, I love you're speaking in this Tolkien-esque elf cadence, right? They've got like 700 years to say everything they ever needed to say.
That's right.
And you've already got a few fish, in the little laying there on the ground on a rag. You can rush off to help. The one that you hit with your arrow scatters down the tree trunk just as fast as you can blink and rushes up to you for a great big bite with its fuzzy mandible-like mouth. And he's going to roll to hit you. And remind me of your armor class there, Cosmo.
It is 6.
6. You're wearing leather armor. And because your armor class is 6, he's actually going to need not a 10 or higher to hit you, but he only rolled a 6, so he does not hit you. And the other one, however, just as quickly and just as speedily and just as intently skitters down the tree trunk to bite at you as well, but rolls a 5. But now they're both there in your face. That was their turn. We now go to the next round, and you come crashing into the immediate vicinity, Raw Dog, and you were a little further away, Amaleth. So, despite your fleet elven feet, you're still headed towards the scene of battle. And to top our round, if anyone is going to do any missile fire, now is the time to do it. Sounds like Cosmo's pretty closely engaged in melee now, though. And you're holding a two-handed sword, so I guess you probably wouldn't be engaging in any missile fire, would you, Dudley?
No.
Okay.
But he's going to say, you didn't say giant spiders. I thought it was coming to help kill little tiny spiders.
No, they're large and their body shamed me.
They body shamed him. They did.
Oh, that's too bad.
Fat little bastard. And yeah, but they're pretty horrifying, especially for you. Being a halfling. They're big sized again, and they're a little higher off the ground than a pig, obviously, because they're held up by their long legs, which are really about 6 feet long each. They're pretty nasty, but like a lot of spiders, they're not quite as tough as they look, and one of them has an arrow sticking out of it. I don't think either of you are casting spells, so we can go ahead and do our movement and melee. So why don't you, if you wanted to attack with that short sword you had, now is the time to do it, Cosmo.
Well, are they too close to? Because I was just going to point blank an arrow right into the same one that I shot earlier.
Well, we don't use ranged weapons in melee.
Well, whatever. I will switch to my sword, and I rolled a 10 that time, half of the natural 20 of last time, which probably does not hit.
You said you rolled a 10.
Yes, which for melee would that would hit armor class 6.
Their armor class 6, so you're right.
Not good enough.
Just lower is better. And all right. So meanwhile, though, Raw Dog, you're right there. You could charge in a swing with that huge two-handed sword you've got if you would like to. Yep. Again, their armor class is 6.
I'll swing at the one with the arrow in it.
Okay.
And, oh, no, I did not hit.
No. All right. One of them reaches over to try to bite you, Dudley, and rolls a 19, which succeeds. And does 6 points of damage to you, but you must also save versus poison.
All right.
And the other one rolls a 3 and misses little Cosmo.
So my poison says 12, and...
and here, 12, you want to roll 12 or higher. Low saves are better, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I got... So... It has to... so 12...
Or better.
Okay, well, I got a 12.
All right, that's it. You're great. You do not take additional damage from the poison. Thanks, Saint Cuthbert. And now it is the next round. Emeleth has just run in. Emeleth, are you using missile weapons?
I am actually going to use a spell since it's so late in the day. I don't feel this will be wasted.
Okay. I don't think anyone's going to be using missile weapons then. No? Okay. In that case...
Well, next round I'll probably use a missile weapon, but... But
Well, if no one is in this round, then we would go to spells. So, what spell do you want to cast?
I will cast my magic missile.
Magic missile. Attacking the darkness. I mean, the spiders.
Ooh, and I roll a 4 plus 1, so 5 points of damage from the magic missile.
The magical arrow courses through the darkness and sticks into the spider. We'll go ahead and say it's the spider that was already wounded, doing 5 points of damage. That spider only had 11 hit points, so you've done 11 to it now. And it pops with a disgusting explosion, sort of inner bodily juices, some of which splash onto Cosmo and Dudley, who are in the vicinity of it, but there's no further ill effect. And Cosmo, you're right there, and you're pretty quick. What do you do? The one that had bitten you just popped. The one you had your arrow in it.
Yep. So there's the one, his buddy.
Yeah.
That's sitting there, who I assume is not retreating anyway. Oh, and I hit him with a 17.
Oh, that will definitely hit him.
But I rolled a mere 1.
Rolled a mere 1 still. Every little bit helps. And you're right there, Raw Dog, with your great big two-handed sword. I assume you will take a slice at the spider.
Yes, I will. And I only rolled a 3.
Oh, well, you miss a spider, but the spider has a terrible morale. You know, spiders are close to their mates. And this one completely loses its morale. It was only 8. He's out of here. He turns to scamper back. I always have had a house rule in my old D&D games, whether it's part of basic expert D&D or not. You get a parting shot when they run away if anyone wants to take one. If you want to kill it. Otherwise, you can let it run.
With missile weapons or...
Whatever you got out.
Okay.
Yeah, you just smack it as it runs away. You could do it with the sword, too.
Well, I will do that, but I will miss. However, while swinging, I will say, she was just going to hit you anyway.
I hit.
All right, that's great. Go ahead and roll the damage for that big old broadsword. Yeah.
Ooh, 9 damage.
Okay. We've done 10 points of damage to it. I see Emeleth is messing around with some dice and making faces. What's happening over there?
That was a sad face.
Okay.
I barely missed.
Well, you guys barely kill it, and it scampers away with 1 hit point left into the dart. And
It'll die later.
it's very sad right now. I'm going to spread the word throughout the spiders of the forest. You're to be watched out for. However, you do have a pocket full of good herbs and some tasty roots, and you got some fish, you got a fire that you can get back to. And you're relatively low ground here too, right? Because you're by the river and you're kind of shaded and sheltered, at least from the north, because it's rising ground and forest there, you know. But you can see pretty far off east along the path ahead of you. The forest and the high ground would be rising to your left. The river and all that, of course, being to the south. And pretty far off, you can see up on a hilltop, and there's really just a deeper shadow against the night from this distance. A flame leap up, which you quickly recognize as a campfire. It's another campfire. Now, probably if you can see that campfire, it is possible that whoever has that campfire might be able to see your fire, if they were even looking or care. But like I said, they're on a hill, maybe just a few miles away. It might make you feel a little too close for comfort before you go to sleep. I don't know. Someone could creep up very quietly and see if everything was safe and canny. And it could be people that maybe you could join forces with, people you need to stay away from and douse your fire. I don't know.
I think we should keep a watch.
It looks like we've got another group of adventurers over there on that hill. I don't hope they don't see us. They might think that we're easy pickings, and they might
Yeah.
come body shame us like those spiders.
Well, I'd like to see them try. There's nothing wrong with my body. Can't find a single flaw with it. But I think, we better go check on those other happy campers, see what they're all about. Preemptively take them out if need be. But I think you ought to be. You're small. You can. Yeah. You said that was one of your advantages, having you around. So I think you should go and creep up there and take a peek and report back.
It is your classic situation. You're right. Campfire and send the halfling up to take a look.
And about how far? A couple miles.
Couple miles, yeah.
Well, my legs haven't had the nap yet, but I suppose that for the good of the group and the safety of our camp here, I think that it might be a smart move. Are you guys going to come with me and hang out nearby so that when I approach the camp, you won't be miles away if I need help?
I shall go with you.
I was about to dig into some nice, whatever you call this.
Yeah, the
broth.
poached. Yeah.
Well, I made a nice fortified stock with the fish bones and the iron rations, and then poached the actual fish meat in it, and then garnished with the chives.
Yeah, it smells so mighty delicious.
And turnips and such.
I don't like to know how the sausage is made. Just pour it down my throat.
Ooh, yes. Any time I'll pour the sausage right down.
Well, if you'd like to wolf that sausage down quick, if you want to wolf that food down quick before you go, you can do it. Otherwise, you might have to eat it cold. Yeah.
I will.
I'd imagine you guys pretty much were eating stuff while you noticed the lice. So yeah.
Yeah, I will finish up like a little bowl of it, and then I'll say, I'll follow you about halfway, so they don't, so we get close. They won't see us, and then you go the rest of the way silently and see what's going on.
Okay, he says, not even thinking that if we go, if you guys stop, even just like a half mile behind, it's going to be like 5 to 10 minutes before you can even get there. So if he gets into trouble, it's all fucked. He doesn't even think about that.
Well, you guys haven't had a lot of practice sneaking around I don't know. We started you guys at 3rd level.
It's true.
So presumably you've had at least some prior experience. But
Yes.
we can at least agree that most of that prior experience happened in relatively more civilized lands, where perhaps one doesn't need to sneak up in the middle of the night and investigate every campfire in the past. Now, if there's one thing about halflings that we know, is they are very, very good at hiding in the woods. Now, this hilltop is not directly in woods, but it's woodlands. They're bushes, they're low trees, things like that. So I'll assume you're very unnoticeable as you creep up. And luckily, you guys actually don't have to go through any full-on woods. As I say, there are some isolated copses of trees and whatnot that you kind of dash between, dive into the bushes, dash a little further, dive back into some bushes. Now, you guys are hanging back, whether it's a half mile or whether it's a couple 100 yards or whatever. But you come creeping, and you're going uphill. There's some tall grass, and there's some big boulders, too, like strangely shaped glacial boulders that have been dropped here on this hillside. And so those also provide some good bits of cover for you, Cosmo, as you creep closer. But on top of the hill, not necessarily trying to hide their firelight per se, but there is a band of men. They look like there are about a dozen of them. They've got their spears stacked up in tripods, not tripods per se, but they're leaning in, making little cones of spears at rest. They seem to be primarily armed with spears. And you can see some heavy bows in use. Well-armored men. They're doing the same thing you were just doing, which was preparing a meal. But then one of them is talking to some of the others. He's got a map or a scroll or something unrolled in front of him that he's showing to the other one. He's gesturing, pointing at it. Do you want to try to get closer to hear what they are saying?
At a minimum, yeah. Kind of want to hear what they're saying.
Okay. Getting closer, and you can't hear every little thing, not without risking too much, right? And you're feeling dangerous enough as it is. You're just at the point where rolling dice isn't really required at this point. But you hear him say, "Never more. There can't be more than a few dozen. Can't be more than a few dozen." And the other one shakes his head. It's a big keep. Big keep. No, they can't have more than a few dozen at any one time. No, you draw them out. That's when you take it. That's how you take it. And, well, we're having enough men. We'll have enough men soon. Don't forget, Nickel's got the inside dope for us. Don't forget Nickel. He's our secret weapon. Hey, did you hear something? And they look over, make you feel nervous. It was just a night bird, but now you're a little spooked. But I'll leave you to draw your conclusions about exactly what they're talking about. They did mention a name you know.
Well, sounds to me like they're going up and to the left. I don't know if we want to run into them up there. Maybe we'll wait until they... Well, I'm just going to... Before I opine... my Cosmo's sort of mental thoughts out loud, or for soliloquy, I suppose I should say. Too long. I think that's enough for him to go back to Raw Dog and Emeleth and let them know what he thinks, or tell them what they said and then what he thinks that means.
Yeah, and what he said was it was a big keep, but they can't have more than a few dozen guards at any one time. You could draw them out and then take it.
That sounds like they're going to...
That's what he relates to you.
They're going to storm the keep on the borderlands.
So, yeah, that's what you hear. Now, he also mentioned something about not having enough men now, but maybe having enough men soon. So they're expecting to be reinforced or some such thing. But whether that's your problem at the moment, I don't know.
Yeah. Not our problem, mate. Could care less what goes on where we came from, only care about where we're going and what goes on there.
Well, mostly I agree, but I do think it would be nice to, if we could get word back to the keep that this Nickel guy's got a bit of a mercenary band intent on attacking them. That might be a nice thing to do, but it's not immediately...
Not a pressing concern.
Not a pressing concern, yeah.
Yeah. Well, if only you had, like, a servant or a mirror boy or a carrier pigeon or something.
I was just going to say, we could try to catch a pigeon and
train it.
Train it real fast and send it back. But it seems like a lot of work, and we still haven't got any rest for the night.
That is true. That is true. And you can't be a hero for everything all the time. Sometimes there's strains of story that one cannot attend to at the moment. But it does appear that there's some, at least some attempt being made to possibly storm or take the keep from Lord Robert, who has it.
I mean, I guess we could sneak up to the camp and slaughter them all, but how many did you say there was?
Well, there's about a dozen of them, well armed.
12-ish, yeah.
I'm a great fighter, but I don't know if we can. I mean, you guys could help, but I think we'll be too outnumbered.
It's 4-1. I don't like those odds.
Well, now that you mention the math, yeah, it probably is not going to be feasible. even with a surprise attack. Well, I mean, we could maybe, hamper their attack or something. Go up and, we could scare them off or something.
Ooh, we could. I could probably steal all their spears, but without getting caught while they were sleeping. And no, if they had a watch though, probably.
Yeah, they're probably experienced enough to keep a watch. We could, what kind of spells you got there, dagger ears?
Are you making fun of my ears?
No body shaming. We've already established this.
That's right.
That's right.
Come on, what is this, 1981? Come on.
I do have something, might, but my spells are ventriloquism, magic missile, and levitate. So
Ventriloquism, man.
I was
handy.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that too. I just wasn't sure. Like,
You could project your voice, make it seem like it's coming from another direction, make it seem like it's something, warning them away.
mm-hmm.
Did they mention? Oh, it could be. They did mention. What's his name? Penny.
Nickel.
I thought it was a dime, maybe, but nickel. We could ask. We could make the voice sound like nickel. We've heard his voice.
Yeah,
It sounds like a pipsqueak to me, and have him say, "It's off." The mission's off. Go home.
Instead, we could have him say, "Instead, you should go to the caves of chaos and go up and to the right or left,
Down and to the right.
or up and to the left." Well, if we send them where we're going to go, and they take out all the bad guys before we get there, well,
That means
that
they're
might
going
be a bit
to take all the.
optimistic.
They're going to take all the treasure if they're going where we're going.
Yeah, good point.
Have them fight each other to the death. They probably won't follow those orders, but
Probably not.
yeah, just send them scattering, going back where they came from.
Well, that's not a terrible plan.
I mean, it's the least we could do because, we've already decided we're gonna go traipse back to the keep, and little Cosmo hasn't had his leg rest yet, so
I need a leg nap.
I had a thought. Perhaps we could tell
Elf
them.
has a thought. We should all.
You was
just,
going to say elf. I was going to say woman.
A woman has a thought. We should just drop everything we're doing and listen for an
Yes, you should.
Quickly, I will explain how a woman elf thinking works. So, no, I'm not.
She's a twofer. A woman and an elf.
It's kind of like mansplain. Elf.
Mansplain elf ways.
Please
Half
mansplain. Okay, so what if I used the voice of Nickel and told them that there was a powerful weapon down in the swamps that they must retrieve before they enact their plan.
Ooh.
So your plan is, so you're hoping that maybe down in the swamps something's gonna get them.
Yes, we've been warned away from those swamps several times.
But see, my thinking was that, there's, just like he told us not to go up and to the left, he told us not to go into somebody said not to go into the swamps, probably because there's a whole hoard of treasure there. And now they're just going to be more wealthy than they were before, and they're going to go still try to take the keep. I think my idea was better. You could just send them away, send them home, and that way they won't even get close. They won't, because maybe they go down in the swamp and they defeat everything that's there. We don't even know what's there.
We could ambush them, but there's not very many of us.
No, there's not.
Yeah, she's silent because she can't stand a man talking back to her. She's used to getting away.
Well, I guess you have to decide what would be more likely for them to be tempted to go get a powerful weapon or to go home. Might be the... Yeah.
That's
Well,
what
even if
I
they
was
were
thinking too,
tempted-
because they're going to want to confirm with. They're not just going to listen to. If he's calling it off, they're going to expect him to, come to them and explain in detail why.
Ooh, I heard a random voice in the woods that told us not to do the thing that we promised to do.
Well, so you got to improvise. You tell them once they ask why, you say, you give them some excuse, and then they ask why aren't you coming closer? Say, well, I've got the shites. I can't. I'm shitting in the woods. I can't come closer.
Don't come over here, it's radioactive.
So you got to think on your toes like me.
Well, ultimately, you're the one who has the power of ventriloquism with your elven magic, so it's going to be up to you what you say and what happens.
Okay.
If we're even doing this. I mean, we could just skip on this and go to the fucking caves.
Right. I mean, I love the idea that you feel compelled to at least try something, rather than leave the keep to their poor graces. But you don't know how long they're waiting for reinforcements, whatever. There's a dozen of them. However, I think it's a great and fun plan if you want to try it.
Or we could possibly tell them that there are no reinforcements coming. They should not wait, and they should go now and attack the keep, and then just get fucking slaughtered.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not a bad idea.
That's not bad.
Yeah, that would... I mean, with just a dozen, they probably would fail.
I mean, between the guards, of which there can't be more than a dozen or whatever, and plus whoever else would...
Right.
Come to the defense of the keep. So
That works.
All right. Well, it's all on you now, MLS. So you guys will have to, sneak back a little closer, and just enough to get in shouting distance. You can bounce your voice. Now you remember that Nickel. He sort of sounded like this, right?
Yes,
So you guys are you're all there, hidden in the bushes.
I'm
looking up the hill,
Nickel.
past the boulder at the campfire where you can
walking.
see them. And so, what do you call out, and where do you make the voice sound like it's coming from?
ooh, because she ventriloquist my voice, so just hers.
I don't think so. It's
Ventriloquist
your
any
it's the
voice.
caster's voice. Yeah. I mean, it's the caster's voice. You can't bounce somebody. Yeah.
Got it.
She can make it sound like your voice.
I think I would probably try to make it sound like Nickel's voice as much as possible.
Yeah, you'll have to kind of try to fake it because the spell doesn't magically do perfect impersonations.
Right. And I'm going to even going to tell them that I'm sending this by magical means because I do not have time to get to you to warn you in person. So there are no reinforcements coming. If you would like to attack Keep, I'm still in position and waiting to do my plan, but you need to do it now.
There's consternation. They stand up. Some spill their food they were eating onto the ground. The two who were looking at the map, what trickery is this? Magic, Nickel! You get out here right now!
I'm at the Cape. I'm telling you.
Since Magical means? What do you mean? We know there's not a wizard that powerful there in the keep. Well, this is something, he sold us out, I know it, he's tricking us. Nickel, you were never trustworthy. Come on out, you. I know you're going to sell us out.
You've heard my message, and there are plenty of adventuring magicians to come through here, so you can do what you like with this information, but no reinforcements are coming.
How long does this magical means? You have a magic shell that you're speaking into or something. Is it a magic mirror?
It's a magic shell.
How can we get a hold of you? We must discuss this amongst ourselves.
I'm in town. I can meet you outside the gates.
Did you hear something?
Just had to add that.
I heard something else. Wait, what? Nicole!
Meet me at the gates. Nickel out.
Nicole! Just 12 of us. Now they fall to arguing among themselves. And you keep talking to them for up to about 20 minutes. Spell lasts for 2 turns. But
Okay.
The best you're probably going to get out of them, they're going to have to confer with each other. It's very clear they don't trust Nickel either. Nickel's their man inside. They know he's a turncoat. They're starting to worry, is he trying to double-cross them? Certainly, though, you've sown confusion, and probably they're not going to do anything real soon, or at least come out exploring the area around them tonight. So maybe you can get that good night's sleep that you needed after all. When you get back...
we've done what we could.
Well, when you get back to the campfire... you're walking back to your camp, and as you get there to the fire, there is a figure sitting at the campfire. It's a short, wizened little old man with long white hair and a bald head. And he's not quite a halfling, but he's small. And he turns around and he looks at you. Oh, greetings. I helped myself to some of that delicious soup you made.
Dungeon Master?
That's exactly what I was about to say.
That's what I was thinking too.
Well, that's just where we'll go ahead and stop tonight, and we'll find out what happens in our next exciting episode of Dungeons and Dragons, 1981 edition.
Was he in like a red hooded
Red robe.
cape?
I like to think of him in a rust and mustard ensemble, all colors.
Nice.
Yes. All right, we can find out more about his wardrobe and what he has to say in our next episode. See you then.
Hey everyone, if you like this podcast, consider leaving us a good rating and/or review, and subscribe to us wherever you can. We've got a YouTube channel and a Discord server, as well as merchandise available at TeePublic. Find our website at GooniesWorldPodcast.com. Email us at GooniesWorldPodcast@gmail.com. You can find all those links and more at linktree/GooniesWorld. Thanks for listening.